Welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with a very special children's author. Please welcome, and darling, say your name for me, otherwise I'm going to butcher it.
Yes, my name is Bracha Goetz. Goetz. It's spelled G-O-E-T-Z, but you pronounce it Goetz. Bracha Goetz.
See, I would completely butcher that. Now, like I said, you're a children's author, but you're a little bit different. You have about 38 children's books out, if I'm counting correctly.
Right.
And they're all spiritual, religious-based?
They're all spiritual books, right, all of them. I say that they're all books designed to help children's souls to shine, right? That's the purpose of all the books.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, books like these are needed to be taught early, so we have a society of children with brightness in their souls.
Yes, beautifully put. Right,
now,
exactly.
When did you start writing?
Oh, I guess I've always been writing since I was a little girl. And I also loved to write in rhyme for some reason when I was little, and I did keep that up. But I've always been writing. I just love to write. And I wanted to write the kind of books that I wished I had as a child. Books that had books that explain deep spiritual concepts in a joyful way, that children can absorb it, and even in a concrete way that children can absorb it. So I wanted to write the books that I wished I had, and that's what I do. So that, just like you said, why shouldn't our souls be shining from the very start? So I even write books for toddlers, and then picture books for children at like preschool age, like that. And then I've just written one book for adults, which is my memoir. And it's actually it's the story of how I went on a spiritual path in life. That's what the book is about. What's unusual about that book is that it's actually a case study. It's a compilation of actual diary entries and journal entries and letters that I kept through the years of my journey. So it's also the story of how I developed and then overcame food addictions. So you actually can see the addictions developing through the diary entries, and then you could see the actually amazing, joyful way in which it was resolved as well. Yeah.
You have a lot going on there. Oh, wow. So which was your first book, and which is your newest book?
Oh, gosh, I'm not even sure. Let's see. My first book, one of the earliest books was The Happiness Box, about teaching children the skill of how to be happy. And one of my most recent books is the book for adults. It's called Searching for God in the Garbage. And basically, I feel like in many ways, God has become like a dirty word. It's really interesting. Like when we're talking about spiritual things, we kind of don't want to say God. We want to talk about energy source or something like that, so that basically we could include everybody. I feel like God has gotten a kind of a dogmatic tone to it, that people have some negative attachments. Many people have negative attachments to the term, whether they feel it's too patriarchal or whatever. I mean, I grew up where my father was kind of anti-religious and didn't believe in God. Well, he didn't say he didn't believe in God. He was agnostic, like we don't know. But I was really brought up to believe in the Bible as like a bunch of fairy tales and things like that. So for me to take a second look and to look deeper into that was a major thing in my life, to kind of, well, could God exist? I mean, this was all like brand new for me to explore that, and to explore basically the universality of all types of spiritual disciplines. So I've been doing that, and like one of my children's books is called The Invisible Book. It's about so many things that we believe in that are invisible, because many will say I can't believe in God because can't see God, but yet there's so many other things we do believe in that are invisible, like gravity, like time, like the air, the wind, our feelings, our thoughts. There's so much that we accept, so then it's not that far-fetched to believe that we're all souls, that we're spiritual beings clothed in bodies. So yeah, these are concepts that I believe children can relate to, because they are spiritual beings, and they can grasp it immediately. People think, that how could a child grasp that? But you can. So I put it in those very concrete terms to open the doors for children to explore their spirituality more. And
right. Now, we need to start teaching our young again. Somehow we got away from teaching spirituality to your little ones. So we have a whole generation that is lost.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think one beautiful thing I see happening is meditation is beginning in schools, which is beautiful. Giving chance, I see even when children are disruptive, they give them a chance to meditate, which is a really, really beautiful thing that's happening. That's a positive change. And to explore more and more that we're spiritual beings, we can waste a lot less time in life. And I see one of the things that I've explored is that the addictions have become very widespread, and I see that as a result of just what you're saying, that we're not getting the spiritual nourishment that we crave. So kind of that is that's the realization that I came to by writing my memoir. I came to the realization that I was spiritually starving. And so that the symptoms were acted out in anorexic behaviors, and then fluctuating with bulimic behaviors of like binge eating, going on a desperate search for more and more food. And the story is, it all relates to overeating as well, because we're desperately starving, and it's a genuine hunger. So many diets don't work out for people because they're trying to solve it in a physical way, and the truth is that there's a genuine spiritual hunger, and if we don't fill that hunger, then we will try to fill it with other types of addictions, whether it's food or some other type of addiction.
Right. So, I was just talking to someone yesterday about healing from the inside. You can take away the chemical, you can take away whatever it is you're addicted to, but if you don't heal the inside, you're just going to fall into a different category.
Exactly. There's an inner emptiness. And if we don't fill the inner emptiness, all of the food or whatever other addiction we put in to comfort ourselves, to try to cover the pain, it only helps so temporarily to help. And another part of that I've been exploring that I love to share is that it has to do with levels of pleasure. So there are 5 levels of pleasure, and they relate to the 5 levels of our soul. So this is something that I've learned from Jewish wisdom. So the most basic level of the soul is connected to our physical bodies. And that level of the soul, we can give it pleasure through the physical pleasures that we put in, like, whatever they are, food and music and being in nature, and all those things are designed for us to have pleasure from them. So they not only uplift our physical beings, they uplift our souls as well. In other words, we need food in order to uplift our spirits. We need music to uplift our spirits. We need being in nature. We need all these things. But people can get stuck on one very easy way to get pleasure. And they get stuck because they want immediate comfort and they want immediate pleasure, but it's a very transitory, fleeting pleasure. And so when we get stuck on one addiction, it leaves us being miserable afterwards. So it doesn't give us lasting pleasure. So as we go up the pleasure ladder, the pleasure becomes more and more lasting in our lives. So I feel that this is the joyful way to overcome addictions, when we recognize that the pleasure we're getting from food or whatever is temporary, and then we can call to our minds immediately. We get in the habit of calling to our minds a variety of other pleasures that we could substitute in instead of the one that we're stuck on. And they could be other physical pleasures, like I mentioned, like being in nature or listening to music. But then we can move up the pleasure ladder. The second level is love, and that's the second level, that's of our spirit, of our soul, and that involves doing kind acts. Like when we love involves appreciating the goodness in other people. So when we do kind acts for other people, we feel such pleasure, and it lasts a lot longer than a bag of potato chips. It fills us with it fills us with the pleasure that we really can stays with us, and it also fills the emptiness inside at a deeper level. So then the next level up, the third level, is meaning, putting more meaning into our lives, and then the fourth level is creativity, and the fifth, the highest level, has to do with transcendence, and that involves connecting with everybody, seeing how we're all connected. That when we recognize that we're spiritual beings, then the lines between us fade away. We kind of melt into recognizing that we're all connected to source energy. So it fills us really with a love for not only all human beings, but animals and plants, the whole natural world. And that's how we connect to source. So as you can see, like each of these levels fills us with a greater and greater pleasure. And when we recognize that, that is really the joyful way to overcome addictions. So it's a great pleasure for me to share this, because I think,
it's very important, so I'm very thankful that you are sharing it.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I love to spread this very basic message. I graduated from Harvard University, and people would say, I think that you're going to be, I specialized in psychology, and I was becoming a psychiatrist in medical school, when I actually detoured into a spiritual pathway. So this resonates with the deepest part of my soul, because I feel like I did not end up becoming a doctor of the physical sciences, but more like a doctor of the soul. I feel like this is the way I love to spread healing in the world. Now, like sometimes this can be enough for people. For me, this was enough. Getting the spiritual nourishment I needed was enough for me to overcome the addictions. But for other people, they may need some type of therapy as well, because the point is that there can be many layers of garbage that are heaped on top of a soul. And our pure soul, that highest level of the soul, it stays pure forever. No matter how much garbage has been piled on top of our beautiful souls, that pure part is still there. And so as we peel off, or you could say melt away the outer layers, and that could happen through, sometimes people may need therapy in addition to adding spiritual nourishment to their lives. In my case, that wasn't necessary because, I didn't have a childhood of trauma. I didn't suffer with abuse or trauma or neglect. But if people have suffered from these things, then the spiritual nourishment may not be enough to actually be able to reach that pure part within. It may be necessary to get some outside therapeutic help to peel away those outside layers so that the spiritual nourishment can actually reach your beautiful shining soul. So that's what I really recommend, and a person will know themselves if the spiritual nourishment is reaching them, and because they can feel their soul beginning to shine, and then life really becomes a joyful adventure. and it's not like the pain goes away, because life is filled with painful moments, but it will be less and less necessary to provide comfort that leads to an addiction to deal with the pain. A person, when they experience pain in their life, will be able to substitute spiritual nourishment, all types of spiritual nourishment that can help their soul to shine. Things like, yoga is a very effective way, too, of helping a person's soul to shine. I can give an example of, let's say a person just feels like overeating. Mm-hmm. They can ask themselves this one question: is it my body that is hungry or my soul? And if they can get in the habit of asking that one question, then they can suddenly, like what's happening is when you're feeling the fear or flight response, it's kind of in the back part of the brain, the reptilian brain, the amygdala, where you're feeling that fearful feeling. Let's say you feel awkward at a party and you just keep eating, whatever. So like if you can move your thoughts to your prefrontal cortex, then the new neurons start firing, and you can create a new habit just with that one question: is it my body that is hungry or my soul? And when you ask that question, suddenly the neurons start firing in a different part of your brain, and you can think of different things to do. Oh, maybe there's somebody lonely standing in the corner I could talk to, or if I'm stuck at home, maybe I can call or text somebody lonely instead of finishing up the bag of potato chips. And what's interesting is you don't even have to do the action. Just thinking about it helps. That's an amazing part. Just thinking about it puts you at a different level where the neurons in your brain are firing in a different place, and you've moved up to a higher level, and you have reconnected with your soul. Yeah.
Right. I watch every once in a while 600-Pound Life. Not often because I don't have time to watch anything, but at the same time, Dr. Now has therapists that say the same thing you are.
Wow.
In a different manner.
Wow.
It's something you have to go from within to heal yourself. If you don't deal with whatever the main problem was. And this is a spiritual problem. This is a trauma that happened eons ago, or whatever the original root problem is, you're not going to heal. If you're not healing, you're going to take your food addiction to a gambling addiction. Or you're going to take your gambling addiction to something else. It's just, you're not healing, you're just trading one thing to another.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is, this is what I was taught by a rabbi when I went to Israel the summer in between my first and second year of medical school. This blew my mind because I had never heard anything like this before. What is the purpose of life? What I learned from this rabbi is the purpose of life is to experience the greatest pleasure possible. Well, that, I had never heard anything like that, because it sounds like a hedonistic type of thing, but that's not what's meant, because if you look at it in a deeper way, the purpose of life is to experience the greatest pleasure possible. We are here to experience the highest levels of pleasure, and as well as the lower levels of pleasure, as well as enjoying food that was designed to be colorful and tasteful. I mean, food could have been designed to be totally gray and have no scent whatsoever, and it would still keep us alive. But it was designed to give us a tremendous amount of pleasure, all the colors in the world, the beautiful nature that we have around us. It didn't have to be like this. And so when we realized that life was meant to be pleasurable, just like you said, because people will think, oh, maybe I'm just here to be miserable in life. Because, who knows what trauma or abuse a person may have suffered in their life. But when they recognize, no, really, the purpose of life is to experience the greatest pleasure possible. When you know what is possible, then you could work to achieve it. You don't have to stop. Another teaching of this rabbi was the opposite of pain is not pleasure. The opposite of pain is comfort. It takes away the pain temporarily. But for pain can be intertwined with pleasure. Like when we give birth, there's a tremendous amount of pain involved, but that leads to pleasure. And when we work on challenges, there can be pain involved. That leads to pleasure. But comfort takes away the pain, but it does not give us pleasure. So we can strive for much greater. We can experience so much more joy in life than many people are experiencing. And that's why I want to give that gift to children from the very earliest point in life, as well as adults, through my memoir, to try to, and through just expressing this on podcasts such as this, because I think this is just vital information for our souls to thrive, and for everybody to thrive, for their beings to thrive. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
You are very welcome. I want to give you the opportunity to say anything that you need, because you're hitting on every aspect I've been trying to reach to people.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to hear that. This is wonderful. Yeah. Basically, I'm going to emphasize just one more time, when you feel like overeating, ask yourself, is it my body that is hungry or my soul? And then you could think about, maybe I could just open the window and feel the fresh air, feel the breeze blowing on me, feel the sunshine on my face instead of just sitting here and eating. Maybe I could do something creative. Maybe I could call someone lonely. Maybe I could turn on music that I love and stretch or dance around to some music. Or I could count my blessings. I could think of all the wonderful things that I love about my life. Because when you're feeling gratitude, you cannot feel miserable at the same time. It's one emotion or another. So all these things, just have a toolbox of things that you can do instead of overeating or doing whatever other addiction that you may have. Have them ready. And when you have them ready, you can just, whether you do them or not doesn't even matter. Just thinking about them changes your entire being right that moment. And you recognize that if I eat 87 more pieces of what I'm eating right now, it still won't fill the emptiness inside. That won't do it. So just the awareness itself is most of solving the problem.
Right.
That's what I want to share.
You have to be aware of what you're doing in order to change what you want to change.
Yes, exactly. And if you and the best and most effective way to change habits is to do it joyfully. So if you can if you can substitute in something that will give you more joy than the bag of potato chips or the brownies that you're eating, then go for it. You know, something can give you even greater joy than that. You may have just habituated to using that to give you comfort to cover up the pain, but there are so many more joyful things that you could put into your life right then. And it just becomes a habit, a joyful habit, and the habit, it becomes encoded in your life really quickly, wired into your life really quickly, because it's a joyful new habit. So yeah. And when people go on diets, they don't seem to last too long because they're kind of rigid and a person feels restricted, so they can last for a while. But many people experience yo-yo dieting because how long can you keep up a certain rigid way of doing things? In this outlook, there's no rigidity, and it's not frustrating because it all involves is adding a tremendous amount of joy into your life. So that's what and especially, I don't know, people that are isolated at home now, it's a time when many people are overeating, and it's an opportunity to find other things that you enjoy. It's really infinite. Even being at home, you can find an infinite amount of things that can add joy to your life. That's what's amazing. So I really hope that people can do that. Yes.
Like with this lockdown right now, I haven't meditated in years, but with the lockdown, I needed something that was uplifting and positive, so I went back to meditating an hour, hour and a half every night.
Amazing. It is so beautiful. I know I've been doing things I've never done before either. It's very liberating because it broke the habitual way that we would do doing things, and it shook us all up, and there's so many negative things that come out of this, so many deaths, but we those of us that aren't suffering with that right now, we can add a lot of pleasure to our lives, and hopefully all those people that have left us, we will see them again in the next world, and because really all our souls are connected. So that will happen. Yes. And if anybody wants to find my books, they're all in one spot on my Amazon author page. So basically, all my children's books and Searching for God in the Garbage, my memoir, you can find it there. I'm also, once this pandemic is over, I'm happy to do speaking engagements again, and I love giving presentations to children and adults. So I basically, I'll spell it again if you want. Bracha Goetz. It's BRACHA, and Goetz is GOETZ. So you can look on my Amazon author page for all my books, and thank you so much. I hope that you will continue to nourish your soul and have so much joy in life. And Melissa, I think you are a really joyful person, and I have so much gratitude to you for doing these podcasts. Thank you.
I want to get as many authors, entrepreneurs, and musicians on the shows as possible right now, because the whole world needs to be uplifted just a little bit.
Yes.
If I can flood social media with all these uplifting podcasts, at least we're putting positive back in the world right now.
Exactly. So true. Another place I feel like assisted livings, nursing homes, prisons especially, need to be flooded with positive podcasts. I feel that would be a really great thing to do. We need positive messages flooding the world, and it helps all of us. When I was searching for years for a positive spiritual message, it took quite a while till I found it, but when I found it, that was just so awesome, and so I'm very grateful, and that's why I want to share it with other people. Thank you.
When we find something that's positive and it works, we want to share it. That's human nature.
Yes.
We want to help others.
And exactly, because that's how our unique souls shine. They shine when we're helping other people. Exactly. And so it helps ourselves as well.
Yes. It does. But it was so nice having you on the show. And again, you can find all these wonderful books on everything she just went over through the last half hour on Amazon. I'll have the link in this on the video. So just click the link and you'll find all these wonderful books. And I look forward to whatever more you write in the future.
Thank you, Melissa, so much. Thank you.
And have a wonderful day and weekend, and stay safe. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, Melissa. It was a pleasure.
Very much so. Thank you.
Thank you.